Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, I'm using for my Friday video again. I did one of the challenges, but this time I also don't have a sketch. But we're going to be making our own background, and we're using three colors, which is Uncharted Mariner, and I'm also, no, I'm sorry, I take that back. I'm using two oranges, which is spiced marmalade and carved pumpkin, and I'm using faded jeans. I think this one is faded jeans. Lord, I can't even remember which one. I think it's either faded jeans or it's Uncharted Mariner. It's one of those two. It might be Uncharted Mariner. Now that I'm looking at the colors because of the blue is not as gray, so it's Uncharted Mariner. And I'm using this stencil from Photo Play, and I'm just going in between. I'm using and this is so funny because this one is actually an orange, but to me it's coming out more yellow. It's like a brighter yellow. It's interesting to me. So I wanted to do sort of like this background that's very similar to the photos that I'm using, but I didn't want to just make straight lines on the black foundations paper. So that's why I grabbed the stencil to sort of like make my own horizon, my own clouds, so to speak. So I'm going to do I think this one is the carved pumpkin. This one is more on the orange. And for this challenge, I'm doing burn. I think it's like burn in love was the challenge, and so that's why I'm making sure to include the orange in on my stenciling colors because it's. I think you're supposed to use either red or orange. And so I opted to use more of the orange because of the collection I'm using, which is 49 and Market Wherever, right? So I'm holding up the picture there, trying to see if this is gonna really go with what I'm picturing with my photo. Now, in this video, the photos, it's definitely more of a vibrant orange. I couldn't get it to match with the oxides, and I really wanted to use the black paper, which the dye inks won't do well on black. Okay, so you have to use the oxides so that way they can be more vibrant and stand out. The only thing is, some of the brightness I got when I used water, but when it dries, it goes more chalky. And I didn't want the chalky look. I really wanted as much of the color as possible. And now I'm doing the last layer with the more yellow color. So it's like I repeated the colors two times. And now we're going to clean up. Okay, so now that I cleaned up, I'm taking one of the 12 by 12 papers and I'm cutting it right at 6 inches. Okay, and I was thinking I wanted to use two pieces, so that's why I cut it in half again at the 6 inches so I would have the two pieces. Well, hindsight being 2020, as I'm starting to put it together, the direction that I was going with this changes, of course. It never fails. So now I'm just trimming down my photos so that way they would be 3 3/4 by um 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then with the leftover paper I have here, that would give me enough of a border. So I'm going to trim that piece down, and then I'm going to start figuring out what I'm going to do. And I was thinking I would do like a little cluster here in the in the center. And I think at this point is where I was like, you know what? I probably just need to cut this in half and be done and just have two separate photos instead of one piece, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape these together so that way that part will be done. And then once they're glued down, then I don't have to worry about that. And we can just figure out, kind of where we're going to put everything. And then with the tape, you do see me using the wet glue if this is your first time here. I use the wet glue to give me time to be able to move things around if I needed to. And I think it's about here where I'm like, you know what? Why did I cut that? I should have just left it one piece. So I think I'm going to wind up, though, making it one piece. Because I'm like, I like the orange. I want to keep the orange. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to go vertical with it. So bear with me, because I'm going to start pulling out some of the accessories, and then we're going to start putting this together. So, of course, I got to pull out the acetate sheets. I love these acetate sheets. I wish that they did keep just the film strips separate, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to make it work. And then I find these, and I was going to do, did I wind up doing the one orange? No. I pull out the orange one, and then I'm like, no, because it'd be too much orange. It's like fading into the background. Do you see it there on that one photo? So there's one more color. It's a little bit more on the aqua side, but because it's in the blue family, I think it works. So I'm trying to take it apart, and during the process, I do rip it. So you're going to see like a little piece hanging weird. But I think I like that better because it makes the photos pop off the orange background paper. And then, of course, I'm bringing out the other film strips. I decided to grab 2 small ones. And instead of doing the 2, like that blue over there that I'm playing with, I decided I'm going to do the orange, but I pull out also the solid of the same size. So we're going to leave those. I don't know exactly where, but I know I want to use them. And I save out the airplane, because if I'm not going to use it here, where am I going to use it, right? I'm literally looking out the airplane window. So, yeah. So I'm just going to put these back into their packaging. And then we'll start looking through some of I think this is the ephemera. Now with the ephemera, I start to collect, not necessarily tickets. They're not tickets. They're these long pieces. But I just grabbed the 3 colors. Sort of like the tealy green, the reddish orange, and the yellow. I decided I'm probably going to wind up using those. And then I saw the Ticket to Ride, and I was thinking that I would use that. But I do wind up finding Fly Away. And so I decided to use the Fly Away instead. And then probably the other hardest thing for me on this one was figuring out a title, because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted the title to be. I love the chipboard words, and usually I can create some type of a title using these. But as you start to get down to fewer and fewer, the titles are a little hard to come to mind. So I go through looking at which ones I could put, words with. Does this make sense? And I think I wind up landing on, I land on Worth It. So I was thinking like see, go. I wish they had a fly. Then I would have done that. Sort of like, what is it? The different sayings that they have, live, love, laugh, that type of stuff. That's what I was thinking. And then I was like, no, don't use that. And then it has not lost. And I was thinking about that, but I think that one worked better with a car photo. Like you're traveling somewhere in the car. I think that would be better. So we'll leave it. And then I put Worth It up at the top. I know I got it mixed up, but you'll see I'm just pulling everything out that I want to use. None of it is where it's going to wind up landing. But I'm just pulling out little bits, like the little words. I think there was a fly with the arrow, so I wind up pulling that out. And then I think that's really all the stuff that I want to use. So I'm just moving everything out the way, and we're going to start trying to put together a layout. So generally speaking, what I like to do is I always like to kind of lay it out. And then once I have it laid out, then I just go about gluing everything down and making the final product. So you can see there the little film strip was broken, but it still worked. I just took my time and tried to be careful with where I put it. And then thankfully this glue dries clear, so I was able to move it and then just clean off some of the glue that landed on the photo. All right, so we got those done. And then here is when I'm like, why don't I just make this long? So I'm like, you know what? I got it short. I'm like, I might as well just put them together and let them really become one piece again. That way I can put my photos there. I can put my little film strips in between. And then magically everything starts coming together. It was like, boom, there it is. And so I start laying everything down. I decided I kind of wanted to do like the three of those kind of together up there. And then I think Worth It over here on the side. And then put Fly up at the top. And that other sentiment I'm going to put down there. Boom. We got our layout. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm happy with the way that's looking. And then, oh, I had pulled out one more saying. So under Worth It, I put explore more. And I like that. So generally, after I have it laid out, I start to go and lay everything down. I try to keep it in general areas where I know I want to put it. And I just kind of slide it off to the right or the left, depending on what I'm working on. And then I'll put from the bottom and just start gluing everything down. And I couldn't remember where I put everything. I think that is the right way. Yeah. How many times? I don't know. I'm like, I think that's it. The pattern is so subtle, and I'm like, I can't tell where it was supposed to go, but hopefully it lined up right. And I'm putting the plane down with its sentiment, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach the photo, and then I'm going to take the two film strips. I'm putting just a little bit of glue in the center. And I do this a lot of times with the film strips. I just put glue in like certain places, not the whole thing, and just let it dry. And once it dries, it does go clear, so you won't be able to see through. And I'm looking at my layout right now, and you can't see. You don't see any white, but on the like airplane, it almost looks like a skeleton because it's like a little bit. It's clear, but you can see a little bit on the airplane. But I'm not mad at it because you'd have to be looking really hard to try and see it. So I changed the three up at the top by making it a little bit more of a fan instead of like layered on top of each other. And I liked how that turned out. So sometimes it does happen where, things may go a little different from the original. But for the most part, I usually can get everything back to exactly where, I want it and like the way the final look is. And I think Worth It was good down here on either. I could have put it on the left, but I liked it better on the right. Because I think it just finishes that off. And then I'm not mad at the left side being more open, because when I do my splatters, they're going to fill in a lot of that. And so I'm putting down a geotag above the Worth It. And then we're just going to use some of these enamel dots. And these are still the ones from, I think it's not Where To Next, but something like that. It was their first travel line from last year. I always buy two of these bobs and bobbles, and this one just happens to be next to me in one of my baskets. So I just grabbed it out, excuse me, and put down some enamel dots. using the green, the blue, and a couple of the clear ones. And then that gives it a little something. And now I think it's time for some splatters. I really like how this is turning out. And using the black paper, the splatters almost look like the galaxy. You ever see anyone use the galaxy, like make their own galaxy background? Oh, that's what I'm putting down. I forgot. I used the washi. This is like washi tape. And sometimes what I do with washi tape, I will put a little bit of glue on the back with the sticky, because like washi doesn't always want to stay down forever. So sometimes you will see me glue them, and then sometimes I don't. It just depends on where I'm putting it. Like this piece here, I will put some glue down on the back because I had to peel it back up because it was not straight. And I was like, I don't know why I was so drunk. Excuse me. When I put that down. But now, I think, yeah, I'm trying to think. I think this is, I'm getting to the end here. What did I put? Oh, I put just a little bit of tape. I was like, what was I doing? I was putting a little bit of double-sided tape on the plastic for the washi so that way it would stay closed. So now that we got our pictures covered, we're going to go ahead and start with our splatters. And of course, I'm hitting with the gold first. And we're going to then pull out our gold, or not gold, the white picket fence. The white picket fence. And then we're also going to pull out another splatter that sometimes I use, and I know it's going to sound strange, I've used even for, like, sometimes on my orange, for my orange layouts. I pulled out Heidi Swap Coral, okay? And this one, I did have to, like, kind of shake it a lot because a lot of the color got kind of, what's the word I'm looking at? It was solid on the bottom. So I definitely recommend you got to shake it up really well. You'll hear the ball that's inside. And you just want to shake it up to get that pigment that's on the bottom mixed in. Otherwise, it'll come out a little watery, which is why just right there, you saw me, I had to really give it a good shake because it was too loosey-goosey. So now we're getting that pigment, that color. And what's really great about this paper, it stays on top a little bit longer because it's like a treated paper. But then once it dries, you still have that, the color in it. It's really nice. Yeah. I really liked how these splatters turned out. So thank you guys for joining me. Here are some close-ups. I do plan on going back to using sketches for the next coming weeks. This was just the last one I did for the challenge. I was actually able to do all 24 challenges, and I was so excited. And I hope you guys enjoyed the videos I shared here. And if you want to see anything more, just come join us over at my little scrapbook store. There's still tons of videos that are saved on the crop page. Thanks again, you guys, and I hope you have a great weekend.